work fast because I did get a little bit of color right there. So coming in here at a downward diagonal sectioning, like that. Yeah, you guys got it?
I like how you use the term Papa Squat.
Yes. So in here, I can go a little bit deeper with my subsection back here. I also can go a little more shallow here. You guys notice I still haven't gone across that hairline and created any type of base. I'm taking each section as is because when it's pulled back, all those sections won't have started at the same exact spot and they won't have ended at the same exact spot, so we'll create that static. And if I'm gonna go in there and hit any of these spots, you guys see how I'm using the corner of my color brush and opening that up a little bit. Ensuring I got all of this underneath here. If I need to open this and check, it might be a little hollow inside there. Just want to ensure I have color in all those little spots. As you guys notice, I'm not ending in the same spot every single time.
Because it looks more blended, right?
Yep. So as you guys will notice, make sure I pick up all this. Right down here, back and forth, opening that hair up, opening it up, and I'm going to begin working my way upwards. Again, this technique goes by really, really fast when I'm not standing up here teaching. I could have probably had her entire head applied by now. Back and forth.
How long would you say the typical application would take?
About 15, 20 minutes.
How much would you charge for something like this?
That's personally, I think of this as one color, two colors, all over color pretty much. I'm going to use the color anyway, so whatever your all over color would be.
Okay.
If I had to prep her, that's a whole nother lightning service. So you had a lightning service with an all over color.
Yeah.
Now, how many people in here charge by hour? Does anyone do their semi-permanents by hour? Like, oh, this is going to take me 4
I would
hours.
love to, but I don't really know how.
So,
For color corrections, I do by hour.
cool. I like that idea with the color correction if there's a lot of processing time. The only reason I wouldn't say doing everything by hour is because one day you're going to get really good at it and you're going to go from 30 minutes to 15 minutes application time. And that came with that time, right? So now you've just given yourself a pay cut.
I
Yeah.
keep doing that to myself.
So if you're doing an hourly and you're getting really good at it, you're now getting paid less. So if there's a lot of processing time, go by hour. If your client had to sit there for an hour and a half with lightener on their freaking hair, yeah, charge them for that hour and a half. But if your time is your money and you can do it in 15 minutes and you used to do it in 30, you've just given yourself a pay cut.
Okay.
All right, does this part make sense? Does everyone get that little bit of a blending? Now we're going on to that blue color, and this is where I want to show you guys. I'm going to take a very wide part of her head when I do this. So I waited till I got up a little bit further because I want as much hair across as I possibly can, but I don't have to take a lot of mass in the hair to get that. So as long as I'm fairly on the clean side, I can come in here and I can take a long subsection.
If you're working with multiple colors, could you just lay them on top of each other?
Yep, so because it begins to coagulate, you can actually start laying those together. All right. So whoever finishes her, be sure you go over my section where I can't see and just make sure that she has color applied there. So I can't see the side of her head. All right, so I'm gonna make sure she's got color in all her little spots. Again, we are gonna use that deeper color to blend the two together because we wanna get at least past that green part right there. All right, now we're about past that green part is when I'm gonna bring in this and I'm gonna do this entire subsection in this blue. Do you see how wide it is though? So when this hair then lays, do you guys see how much coverage we're gonna have? Same thing, really quickly, roll that over and work my way up. And if you guys wanna do two little small panels of that, I could take another subsection right on top of this and do another blue one, and she'd have that bigger pop out of there. But don't feel the need to go in there, and I see this happen quite often because that was totally me and I now notice it, and you're taking all those tiny little subsections and you're putting like 2 hours worth of application time into like small subsections of a bunch of different colors because you think it's going to make a big impact. This will make a much larger impact that way. So if you want a multi-dimensional, come in here with a couple of these colors in downward or backward horizontal sectioning. I could add 4 of these colors and have a huge impact versus spending an hour trying to blend every little strand of hair together.
Do you mean on one color strand?
So like I see it often, like someone would have taken this subsection, and that subsection and tried to make like 3 colors out of it.
Right.
But if you would have done it in a backward, well, yeah, you could do that also, but in a backward, I could have stacked 3 different colors on top of it and made a huge impact because she would have almost a complete multi-dimensional like rainbow on that side or something like that. So same thing, we're opening her up, rolling back and forth, ensuring that all of those colors are mixed together right there, and then just laying it right on top. Right. I'm going to get to this front little part because I want to show you guys about where the part begins to lay. It's quite often that people forget that people put their hair back in. Like stylists, we forget their hair goes back because it looks so beautiful when we blow dry it downwards, and then they go home and they take a picture and they've got like a skunk stripe. And you're like, shit. Gotta fix that now. Cool. So we're gonna leave that blue just the way it is. And when we get to the back here, we can add in this subsection right here 2 more panels at a downward diagonal. And when that falls, it'll all fall together and she's gonna have a complete nice highlight of that neon blue through her hair. We're getting up to the front right here, and this is incredibly important when we're coming to the front area, is that these right here, these subsections begin to get much smaller, but then we can get larger as we move our way back, okay? So because right here, we want it shallow so that when the hair gets pulled back, there's dimension and staticness in that ponytail. If I was to take that as one large section, what that would do is then make a skunk stripe right across that little area when she pulls it back into a ponytail. So I'm going to become very shallow in here and work my way deeper into there. Does everyone see this? Hi, can you guys see that? I might turn her a little bit. There you go. So do you see how deep I can go versus how shallow I want to be? That's exactly what you guys want to be doing to create the dimension within the hair once it falls back down. Deep up in here and shallow across that hairline. Pretty much anywhere along her hairline is going to have a much more shallow root versus deep in here is going to get much deeper.
It almost looks like it follows like the shape of her head.
Mhm.
If you look at it, like
Yeah.
it's deeper back here and it's smaller here.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for. All right, now in this little front section, this is when I'm going to go with a smaller little subsection like that, right?
That's the other angles that are on the diagram that
Mhm.
look
Yes, so like you guys can see right here. You guys see how I became much smaller along that area? That's exactly what you're now seeing right there. Sorry, Paige, I'm getting it on you.
That's fun. You're playing with my hair, just making me sad.
Same thing, back and forth, all the way up. You see how I'm rolling it? Because there's so much color in here, I have enough color to work my way up that. But once I start seeing that same color not be there, that's when I dip back in. Try not to get down your face.
What's your favorite stain remover for like the semis? You know, I don't have the problem with Action 8 seems to come off really easily, but like with the more highly pigmented blues, like it's hard to not.
Redken has a really good one that looks more like, you know, just like a face wipe. But makeup removers work fantastically. Like a Neutrogena or a baby wipe also works great because when I'm at home and I sweat and I get a little bit on my neck, I'll take a baby wipe and just scrub the crap out of my neck and it all comes off. All right, so it's gonna be the same idea, making sure that when you're taking these, now you're going across the part. That's where we're coming all the way up to that tip right there. So each subsection will now lay in its own little section as it comes across that root. So, next subsection. I wasn't as careful.
Do your nails ever break through your gloves?
Absolutely.
Mine do
All the time. But I can't work without them. So you guys see how each subsection I'm now gonna be taking is gonna go across her part until we get to that tip right there. So as we're ending in a bunch of different areas, because there's no possible way for us to end at the same exact spot, when that hair lays back down and that hair comes right here, it's going to static across there. Cool, huh?
Is this one go really shallow as well?
Yeah, so this is a little shallow spot right here. And then I will just begin going across there. Oh, I had to remember. Do you guys see me? I was going for the wrong. Oh, no, I was going for the right color. I get talking. I'm the worst like talker and applicator. That's why it gets really silent. All right. Across her little part right there. On the shallow side. And honestly, have fun with this. That's all I can truly say, is that as long as you sort of have the same structure, have fun with it. Maybe put a forward diagonal little panel in there, or maybe try forward diagonaling her little part right there and see what happens. Just honestly have fun with it. Grab a mannequin if you need to. Do whatever and see what you guys can create out of the knowledge, because really all this is just realizing how the hair falls and how the color should be applied. All right, you guys see how deep that is versus how shallow that is up there? Can you guys all see how that's beginning to fall? Go ahead, take a stretch. I'm gonna finish this section. Feel free to stand up here, and then my girls are gonna finish that. We're gonna move on to something else, okay?